Welcome to The Explainer. You know, when a pivotal figure in law enforcement passes away, we often hear about their career. But with Nigeria's Solomon Arase, the story's about something more. He wasn't just an officer. He was an architect, a man known for building bridges between the police and the people, and between old traditions and new reforms. The news of his death at the age of 69 really sent shockwaves through Nigeria's security and political circles. For so many, it was a sudden and completely unexpected loss. And part of that shock was just how sudden it all was. It came after what was described as only a brief illness, which nobody really saw coming. He passed away in a hospital in the nation's capital, Abuja. And once his family confirmed the news, the focus, it shifted almost immediately from the shock of his passing to the incredible legacy he was leaving behind. So who really was the man behind the uniform? To truly get a sense of his impact, you have to go back to his foundation. Born in Edo State, Solomon Ehigiator Arase wasn't just defined by his police work. What really set him apart from pretty much all of his peers was his powerful academic background. And this is what made his perspective so unique. Think about it. He wasn't just a police officer. He was a political scientist and a lawyer. That combination, security, law, and politics, gave him this really multifaceted approach to law enforcement that would pretty much define his entire career. So with that incredible academic foundation, he launched into a long and really distinguished career in the Nigeria police force. It was a journey that would take him from a young recruit all the way to the very top. And he did get to the top. He held the nation's #1 policing job, becoming only the 18th indigenous inspector general of police in the country's history. I mean, that's the absolute pinnacle of a career dedicated to public service and the force. His journey through the ranks was both steady and really strategic. After joining back in '81, he took on these key roles, like leading the Critical Intelligence Bureau, before he was finally appointed Inspector General. And get this, even after he retired, his expertise was considered so vital that he was called back to service to lead the Police Service Commission in 2023. That says a lot. But here's the thing. People don't just remember Arase for the positions he held. They remember him for what he did with that power. He wasn't a caretaker. He was a true reformer. He didn't just maintain the status quo. He built new institutions from the ground up. He created the Complaint Response Unit as a direct answer to police misconduct, giving citizens a real channel for accountability. And at the same time, he established the Intelligence Response Team to modernize the force's intelligence capabilities. His commitment to service definitely didn't end with retirement. His expertise was sought on the global stage, consulting for organizations like the UN on huge issues like election security and human rights. It just proves that his influence, his work building those bridges, went far beyond Nigeria's borders. The reaction to his passing, wow, it really reveals the depth of respect he commanded across Nigeria. The tributes came from the highest levels of government, his peers, and even from people who often found themselves on the other side of police actions. President Tinubu himself led the nation in mourning, praising Arase for his dedicated service and his continued public roles after retirement, highlighting just how deeply his expertise would be missed. The sense of loss from within the policing community was just profound. His own predecessor, Sir Mike Okiro, put it very simply, "We lost a gem." He wasn't just seen as a colleague, but as a national treasure. And in this deeply personal tribute from another former IGP, Ogbonna Anovo, you can just feel the raw shock and grief. Solo, as he was clearly known to his friends, was apparently on the path to recovery, which made his death all the more painful. This is where that whole bridge builder title really comes into focus. You can see it from all sides. A fellow police chief called him an almost perfect intellectual. A subordinate praised his impactful, modernizing tenure, and then, maybe most telling of all, a prominent human rights activist, someone often at odds with the police, remembered him for being accessible, for being someone who would actually step in and help. That rare quality, that is what truly set him apart. So, his life's work is done. But the reforms he championed and the standard of intellectual, accessible leadership he said, well, that leaves us with a final, forward-looking question. Solomon Arase built bridges between the police and the community, between tradition and reform. The challenge now is whether those bridges will be maintained and, more importantly, built upon.